This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Hello, Place to Be Nation. Welcome back to our first WWE reaction show of 2019, as we are doing the Royal Rumble reaction show. I'm your host, Chris Zeltner, and I'm joined as always by my co-host on these shows, the Oracle of WWE, Devon Hales. And Devon, this was a 5-hour main show, 2-hour pre-show, 7 hours. Oh my God.
It was awfully long. This actually was a show that didn't feel all that long, in comparison to the other Big Four, Big Five, because the Rumble matches are so exciting and so fun. But it was awfully long. And I've always thought 2-hour pre-shows are way too long. If they take an hour off the pre-show, even that's, a little bit better than 7 hours total. Six is better than 7.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It did not. It could have been a whole lot worse as far as the feeling of it being long, but it was just long.
Yep.
And that's what it is. That's the way it's going to be on these shows. But wow, a lot going on here. I am under the weather, so I will not be talking as much probably tonight because I don't know how my voice is going to handle it. So anyway, let's start with the first pre-show match. We had a non-title match. The Raw Tag Team Champions, Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, against the Authors of Revival, or the Revival of Pain, however you want to call it, Scott Dawson and Razor, because Occam's injured, and Dawson stepped in with the idea being that if they won the match, then both teams would get a title shot in the future. And you would think with that type of stipulation that the heels would have won the match. No, Roode and Gable won. So yeah, why even do this match?
That was weird. I don't know why they did that match. I think they just wanted to get all the champions on the show, and I was actually glad that Roode and Gable got to wrestle on the show. But it was weird that Razor and Dawson didn't win the match. I thought that was kind of the point of having the match.
Yeah.
and I keep reading all these rumors how they're trying to rebuild the tag divisions. Well, that's not really rebuilding the tag divisions if you have two. They basically knocked out 2 birds with 1 stone in that match. Roode and Gable did. So those teams, AOP and the Revival, have lost countless times to these guys. That was it was weird. It was just weird.
Maybe something new will happen.
Maybe so. I mean, the match itself was definitely the worst match of the show. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't all that good. It was pretty clunky in spots. I mean, but I was fine with it for the most part. I think it was there mostly, I guess, considering the outcome, just for Roode and Gable to be on the shows.
Yeah, that's probably right. At least they're on there. We got them a booking.
Yep.
So yeah, there it is. Again, like I said on Twitter, well, that was a match.
Yeah.
That was my thoughts on it. So there you go. All right, next pre-show match, U.S. Heavyweight Title match. Shinsuke Nakamura against Rusev. Rusev champion. And Rusev's had quite the reign, as he's barely been on TV since he won the belt. But, SmackDown is hard to get on sometimes. And Lana came out with Rusev, and she got involved in the finish, where Nakamura told her to shut up. And she got knocked off the apron, hurt her ankle, so there's your foreshadowing for later on, which everybody pretty much figured what that was leading to. And then Nakamura hit the Kinshasa in the back of the head, got the win, new champion. So, I will say this, Nakamura and Rusev really do have good chemistry against each other, and they've had two really pretty good matches. So, what's your thoughts on
Oh
that?
yes, their Christmas match was absolutely tremendous. Their Christmas match was a top 25 WWE match of 2018. That match is a must see. Um, Tonight's match wasn't nearly as good, but it was still good. Very good. The finish I hated at the time, um, not because Nakamura won, and not because, oddly enough, I didn't even think of the Becky situation. I thought Becky would just come out, without that having to happen. And once I saw Lana limp into the ring, and we'll get to that, but I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but so I was just like, oh, I don't want to see another Rusev Lana breakup, and that seems like what they're going towards, and it's just like, ugh, we have to see that again. Like, I don't know, like they did. I'm just reminded of the nightmare feud that occurred in 2015. Although that one did involve Dolph Ziggler, so I mean that's it's hard to get any worse than that. But it was just like, are they really going to do this breakup angle again? It's just it's
Nah,
annoying.
I don't. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't think it was gonna be a breakup angle deal at all. It was just a way to set up what was happening and get to talk Nakamura, which I really don't understand, but it is what it
Yeah,
is.
it was just odd. As far as now, I don't hate the finish. Now, I just think it was odd more than anything. But yeah, but the match was good, and Nakamura as a champion, I'm fine with that. Ultimately, it just seems like they just wanted to give Rusev kind of a Christmas present / birthday gift title run for a few weeks.
Yeah, I
But
guess.
weird, but
What an undervalued performer he is.
yes,
Sad.
yes, absolutely.
He needs to get off SmackDown. He needs to get back on Raw so he gets to get more TV
Yep.
time. Maybe during the shakeup that'll happen. We'll see. Alright, after this, they announced that John Cena wouldn't be participating in the Raw match and Braun Strowman was taking his place, which was the worst kept secret, but I've seen a lot of debate on Twitter about whether this counts as false advertising or not. I mean, I get what people are saying, but I don't think in 2019 that people are tuning into the Royal Rumble just to see John Cena. I mean, what is your thoughts on this?
I think it's a little overblown. I I'm gonna be a huge WWE defender real quick and say that I think some of it's just people who want to find reason to bash on WWE and do it. Um, I'm not going to get too into that because that can become an annoying argument and discussion. But I think that's part of it. On the
Yeah,
other hand, I do think there's, when you do those bait and switches and stuff like that, too many times it can become a bit of a problem. But it's wrestling. Like, who cares? Like, that shit happens all the time. That's what it'd be in the last 10 years has done it. Really, in the last 20 years since Russo's booking, have done it quite a bit. But it's not. It really isn't that big of a deal to me. Like, and like you said, I agree with you. I don't think John Cena not being in this match turn people away. You know what I mean? I just don't see that being the case. I just don't buy it. Um, it's just kind of an argument for an argument's sake. I think a little bit
yeah,
in terms of an anti
exactly.
WWE argument.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Next, we get the last match of the pre-show, and I was glad that they made the last match and not the first match, what they normally
Right.
have done. Fatal four-man match for the Cruiserweight title. Buddy Murphy defending against Hideo Itami, Akira Tozawa, and Kalisto. And yeah, this was a hell of a match. basically what I mean. If you watch 205 Live, this is basically what you would expected to see with these guys, and very impressive stuff. Murphy is tremendous. Everybody was really good in this match. Tommy, I dug him because he was like the different guy in the match because he was working a different style than everybody else was basically, and it added a different element to the match. And Murphy retained, so he's still the champion. And it's getting to the point with him where they got to find somebody new for him because he's run through everybody pretty much right now. So we'll see what happens there. But what was your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, this match was real good. They did some crazy high spots early and late. They had a cool dive sequence towards the end. I really loved the dynamic of Itami, as you mentioned, him stalling early, and then they would always take out Kalisto and Tozawa and have their strike exchange showdown between Itami and Bud Murphy, and they would tear into each other. That was really well done. Yeah, this was a really good match, good finish. Buddy Murphy retained. Yeah, I thought this was really good, and I agree with you that Buddy Murphy kind of needs a new challenger. It's Mania season. The week after the Rumble is usually pretty big on TV, so maybe they'll bring some people up on 205 this week. I know what's his name, Kushida is supposed to be coming into the company probably by February 1st at the earliest, I would assume. I think he's still in New Japan through the 31st. But maybe he'll get inserted right away. I don't know. We'll see. But
there's something, even if it means turning somebody.
Right. I agree.
You know, I'd be interested in seeing Buddy and Drew Gulak or something like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That would rule.
So something different, something you can sink your teeth into, a little bit different. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, these guys deliver, and it was unusual when they got the crowd into it, which they normally do. When they have their show, the matches sometimes don't have a lot of heat, and then they win them over with their work. That's what they did here. So, all right, now we get to the main show. Open up with Asuka and Becky Lynch, which as soon as I saw this was the opener, there's your alert. Mm-hmm. And this was a hell of a damn match. I mean, it's what you would expect between these two. Lots of stiff action. They hit all their big spots and stuff. Hot stretch run going to the finish. I like that they were basically that Becky was trying to use the Asuka lock on Asuka to beat her. I thought that was cool, and I did think that I thought Asuka rolling over into that the bridge, doing the Kairi Sane Shayna Baszler spot was going to be the finish. I kind of bid on it, but it didn't happen, and then she eventually got Becky to tap out, which I saw people say, on Twitter and stuff that, well, what was being planned later? Should they have had Becky tap out here? What's your thoughts on that, and your thoughts on the match?
First of all, the match was excellent. This was a tremendous match. I wonder whose idea it was to do a swinging fisherman neckbreaker off the ring apron.
Oh, that almost was ugly. Oh, my God.
I mean, it was a great spot, totally brutal, but boy, that was dangerous, and that was a disgusting landing.
That could have fucked up a lot of plans.
Yep.
Because Becky was the one that took the brunt of that, and if she would have landed the wrong way, oh my God.
Yep. That was very dangerous. This match was awesome. It was really good mix of technical and badass fighting, and this was a really great match. I was looking forward to this coming in, and it totally delivered, and I think it actually exceeded expectations a little bit even for me. This match was awesome. And Asuka pulls out basically a version of the cattle mutilation to tap Becky out, which ruled.
That's right. Yeah.
So in terms of the match, it was excellent. And the booking, excellent too. And here's why. Um, Asuka needed this win. She needed to have a win like this. She needed to have a win and a definitive win. And submitting Becky really put her over. So guess
Yeah,
what?
absolutely.
Now you have Becky Lynch as a huge. Now you have Asuka, who's getting rebuilt and being put over and being seen as a serious threat and as a serious champion now. This was totally the right call. I mean, it would have been fine if she would have pinned her too. You know what I mean? Like, but even with a flash plan, I would have been fine with it. As long as Asuka won the match clean. I think that was the key, was for Asuka to win the match clean. Um, and they did a little bit more than that, and I think that's fine because you know I think it also fit with the narrative and the story of the night of Becky fighting against the odds and kind of hitting a low point and then having to fight back up and then getting that a high point. And of course we'll get the women's rumble here in a few minutes. But I'm totally fine, and I totally support and think it was the right call to have Asuka tap Becky out. You just made at the end of the night, you just put both of them over very strongly. So I think that's a win-win situation right there.
Yeah, and it's pretty obvious that, I mean, we got to think that Becky's going to challenge Rousey. So
Right.
I guess Asuka, maybe that'd be Elimination Chamber situation. But SmackDown's women's side of things is definitely interesting, to say the least, as far as who's there and who could be contenders. I mean, if Charlotte's involved in Mania and that turns to a three-way with her, Becky, and Ronda, then what do you do with Asuka?
Well, I've seen some rumors that Nikki Bella's going to come back and have a title match with Asuka. I've seen that. I've
I
seen that.
mean, I could.
Floated around. Maybe.
Could happen. Could happen. I could, yeah, I mean, that would be something.
Otherwise,
So,
I'm not sure. We have to remember in the chamber, there's that women's tag title match with 12 women in it.
yeah,
So I don't think the
yeah.
women's title matches are going to be chamber matches, if they even occur.
No, it can't be. Yeah, it can't. You're right. Yeah, you're right. That tag match has to be the women's chamber match then, for
Yep.
sure.
So there'll probably be a men's chamber match, but singles. But there's
Oh, yeah.
there's not going to be two women's chamber. That's going to be that tag title match. So it's going to be interesting to see if Asuka even it's going to be an interesting few months to see who the challenger for her will be.
Yeah, it sure will. All right. Next, SmackDown Tag Titles. Sheamus Cesaro, The Bar, against Shane McMahon and The Miz. Fine match for what it was. Everybody worked hard. Shane did all the Shane shit. Took wild bumps, dove, all that stuff. Miz is definitely interesting here in this role, and I think we all know what the end game is for this, but I don't know. Sell me on the Miz and Shane right now, cause I'm kind of like, nah, not feeling it.
I loved that promo on Christmas, the Miz cut about his dad and explaining why he wanted Shane to be his partner. I thought it was a really old school promo, actually. Um, I actually enjoy this team. I do think it's kind of bizarre. Like I don't think it's the most exciting thing in the world or anything, and I kind of did it first, but I am enjoying it. As an unabashed Shane mark, I sort of enjoy everything Shane's involved in, so it's kind of what I mean, hard for me to. He's one of my guilty pleasures, like. When he was throwing his punches tonight and he did the punch combo on Sheamus and then stopped and made a goofy face and faked out with one punch and then hit him with the other hand, it was hilarious. And Dustin and I burst out laughing for a full minute. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I find Shane to be ridiculously entertaining. I could probably watch him on a loop for 6 or 7 days straight.
Well, he always works hard.
Yes,
You got to give him that.
absolutely, and he's still able to hit a shooting star press perfectly at the age of
49 years old.
So I mean,
Yeah.
that's impressive. And this was a fun match. I really enjoyed this match. This was a good, solid tag match. I I kind of don't know who's going to turn on who between this Miz Shane team. I haven't figured out who's going to turn on who yet. Honestly,
It's got to be the
I,
Miz.
I, I would
I
think. I
mean,
mean, that makes the most sense. I mean, at the same time, I don't know. I mean, I would pay money to and pick the Miz to do it, but it seems like they might do this weird thing where Shane's like because of the whole like my father, Miz bringing up his dad, and then Shane. Remember when Vince was watching Shane get taken care of in the monitor on SmackDown last week?
I'll save my comments on that when he came out there. You reserve his comments.
Right. I think Shane might turn. I think there's. I'm not saying this will happen. I would still pick the Miz,
They definitely played up
but but
Miz's
but
dad
but
a lot.
Shane turning on Miz and then saying, "Well, my dad doesn't love me, and I wanna get my dad's adulation." And I got or something. I don't know why it would involve Miz, but I feel like that's sort of I feel like they would find a way
Well,
to
I mean,
get to that.
they definitely played up Miz's dad a lot tonight. So they're giving you the impression that that could be something in the offing for sure.
Right, right, and I think like I said, Shane could turn on Miz and complain about Vince not giving him adulation, which I know sounds random, but I feel like that could be something that could happen. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, we'll see.
all I know is I'm pretty sure they'll have a match at Mania against each other.
I gotta think
So
so.
that's the only thing I
I
could
gotta think
say.
so. Absolutely. All right. Next match was one of the matches I was looking forward to the most. Raw Women's Title. Ronda Rousey defending against Sasha Banks. And for those of you that listen to these shows that we've done, you know how much we fallen over the Ronda Rousey Perry matches, and this one was no different. As this was wild early on. Like it had that whole psychology of the Ronda matches where you can be watching this match and you may not be sure that they weren't out there actually having a shoot the way they were going at it out there and all the stuff they were doing and man, this was just great stuff, man, great stuff. And it was a different version of the best Becky Asuka match, and I think that's the way it needed to be. But it was the same type of dynamic, just different. And Sasha's great as being like that plucky underdog, and right there with the big fight. And Ronda, man, she's so great for her experience level. And we didn't get as much Ronda selling as we normally get, but yeah, this was just tremendous stuff. And Sasha almost got Ronda to tap out, and like vice versa, and got some great near finishes, and then Ronda just killed her with that Piper's Pit, just killed her. Sasha took that almost right on her head, and I love the match. I've seen a lot of polarizing opinions on this match, but I'm a huge Ronda fan when it comes to these pay matches, and I thought this was tremendous. And then after the match, they have their moment in the ring where they shake hands, respect. Ronda goes, kisses Travis Brown, her husband. And Sasha comes back, shakes her hand again, and puts the four fingers in her face and walks off. And it seemed like as Sasha was walking off, each time she was getting like madder and madder. So it's interesting to see where this is going to end up. But yeah, I thought this was great stuff. Where do you fall
Oh
on it?
yeah, this was awesome. At first I was kind of like, okay, this is one of those matches that was just kind of there for, but by the end of the match, like, oh man, this is an insane fight, and I'm loving every second of it. So it's not something I loved at the start, but it's just one of those matches. By the end, you're like, man, that was a great fight. It was a fight. This felt real. This felt, all the unorthodox stuff and the sloppiness. Not everybody's gonna love that stuff, and I'm sure that's what the polarizing comes in. People didn't like the sloppiness or the unorthodoxy of it. I loved all of that. It's like it felt real. It felt like a fight. It was basically around Sasha trying to out wrestle Ronda with submissions and working over her arm and stuff, and taking the advantage when Sasha hit her elbow and arm on the ring post on the outside, and Sasha just had to use her judo background, basically throwing Sasha around wildly, just basically playing defense with her judo the entire time. It was a really awesome match. Sasha totally tortured Ronda on the mat. Like, it was totally insane. The bit where she did the basically the rings of Saturn. God, that was brutal. God, that was nasty. And then, of course, the bank statement with Sasha's gear wrapped around Ronda's mouth. That was brutal too. Man, this match was brutal. Just awesome fighting. It was just like a total scrappy fight. And then, of course, Ronda is able to use her throwing based offense to win. And crushes Sasha a couple of times. Has that awesome counter into the slam, and then the Piper's Pit for the win. Just an awesome match. And the post match was very interesting. Ronda's at minimum going to take, a lot of time off or leave WWE. I think she's going to come back in some capacity at some point. But I've always thought she would leave after WrestleMania, at least for a few months. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. That might have just been the Four Horsewomen signed deal might have just been hey, we're the best in this business. We're the original Four Horsewomen in wrestling. This is our place still, or whatever. And there's also might have been like a sign of, well, Becky and Charlotte, are also here, are also on your tail or whatever. But because I've seen some ideas float around that maybe since Ronda might be leaving after WrestleMania, that they'll do the Four Horsewomen match at Fastlane. And I'm like, yeah, but they'd have to find a way to get Shane and the other girls up, and I just don't know if they could do that in that time.
Not going to happen.
I don't think so either. So
this is the long game.
Right. So I think that statement by Sasha was more of I don't think it really is going to lead into any more Sasha Ronda matches in the near future necessarily. But I think it was just more of a, hey, this is us, we're the best here, we're the real Four Horsewomen kind of deal, and sort of just kind of another clue, another setup for, maybe something a long way down the line.
Yeah, there's definitely more coming. So, but yeah, it's great stuff. All right, next was the Women's Royal Rumble, and won by Becky Lynch, who replaced the injured Lana to take the spot. Last year's Rumble was more about, bringing back the women from the past who never had a chance to be a part of a Royal Rumble. And this year was the beginning of hopefully a new theme, Women of the Future. We got a lot of women who are NXT related, like Xia Li was in there, Kairi Sane was in there, Io Shirai was in there, Rhea Ripley. Casey Catanzaro came out there and definitely impressed everybody with her skills. And this match was perfect for her. Candice LeRae got in out there. And they got Maria Kanellis involved and got her, to get in there, which was a nice touch. We had Hornswoggle show up. chasing around Zelina Vega from up front of the ring. Alexa Bliss made her return. A lot of stuff going on here. Natalya lasted almost an hour, which I know made you happy.
Oh God, that was ridiculous. She was also
there was a lot going.
almost blowing spots towards the end of the match too. But
yeah, there was a lot going on. Fit Finlay being the man to tell Becky she can earn the match, and that was a nice touch there. And especially after Hornswoggle had just been around, Finlay and Hornswoggle not together at the same time on television. But this Rumble it picked up in the second half for sure.
Yes.
The first half was not good. It picked up definitely in the second half, and it ended up being a memorable match. So, what was your thoughts on the whole thing?
Yeah, this was the first half of the Rumble wasn't very good. I thought the booking or whatever was fine. Well, Natty being the Iron Woman was stupid, but in terms of the work wasn't very good. It just wasn't good. And I started to pick up when Naomi came out and went after Mandy, and they did Naomi's save spot, and then Mandy still eliminated her, and that got a huge pop. That the crowd started to get into the match a little bit more after that. And then, Ruby came out, and I really liked the Riot Squad coming back out with her, and they were taking care, beating people up pulling people out from, from under the ropes and beating them up. And that was a cool dynamic that they'd never done before. And I thought that added kind of a new layer to the match. And, the match was just kind of going, with where it was and just kind of, getting, a little bit better here and there. Alexa got a huge pop, a massive pop. She had the next biggest pop outside of Becky in this match.
Oh, yeah.
And she came out, and then the match really picked up when she came out. And then the last couple of entrants, the crowd, when Lana came out, they started cheering for Becky. Of course, Becky shows up after Nia attacks Lana. Becky can fit Finlay. I actually love this because not only was there the Irish connection and the women, and the connection of Finlay being, the big supporter of women, over the years or whatever as an agent and producer for them. But they actually did an angle like this where a wrestler actually got permission from somebody to actually be in the match. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times people will just come in and just insert themselves into the match. Like, what? Like, someone with some sort of authority was able to give her permission, and I really liked that touch. Like, yes, finally someone allowed her to be in the match. And she was in the match not for being the one to attack Lana. She was just going to take her place, so that even defends Becky coming into the match even more, as just a simple replacement. So I really liked that touch. Of course, when Becky came in, the match got really heated and hot. Final Four, was down to Becky, Charlotte, Nia, and Bayley. I was very close to my Final Four prediction that I made a few weeks ago. I had Ember in my Final Four, the other three. She made it to the Final Seven, so I was close. Of course, Becky tears into Nia, eventually eliminates her. Nia shoves Becky off the ring steps. Becky's got a hurt knee, which her selling was awesome. That was great. The final showdown with her and Charlotte was excellent. Becky's win was awesome. Great celebration, great moment. And quite honestly, the last 10 minutes of that match those are probably some of the 10 best final minutes in the history of the Royal Rumble and in the history of the Royal match. Which is saying a lot, but it was so the right move. It's one of those times where WWE got it right. And when they get it right, it's awesome. And it was just an awesome moment and an awesome bit for Becky. And the first half of the match wasn't good, but the second half was a lot of fun, and the ending was awesome. So I'm giving this match a thumbs up. I'm excited for what appears to be finally the Becky Ronda showdown. At least we might have Charlotte, which would be fine, but at least we're going to get those two that people have been waiting for several months now.
Yeah, absolutely. At least that's what it looks like. I think they go with that. So there you go. I do think that the placement of the match is interesting, though. Last year they had the men's rumble kick off the show.
Yes.
Of course, with Becky being in a match against Asuka, they couldn't do that this year. If they wanted to open up if they went in the women's rumble first, and there were a lot of people complaining, well, you should just close the women's rumble, let it main event again. I don't think they were going to do it 2 years in a row.
That's fair. Yeah.
And the angle they had in the men's match had to be done last,
right.
Which we'll talk about later. But we'll talk about how it affected the next match. But it was definitely a moment where the crowd was definitely into Becky winning, and they had to cool down, I guess, after that match, and haven't been during another big match. But it was the right thing. They went with the right finish. The favorite won, so you can't go wrong there with the logical finish for sure. All right, next we get the WWE Championship match. Dan Bryan, AJ Styles. These guys have worked together a lot lately, but this was interesting. Crowd heat, not there most of the match. They did a lot of good work, and it was a good match, but it was kind of just there in a vacuum in a way. And then Eric Rowan comes out. Okay. And comes ringside, and everybody pretty much immediately should have known then what was going to happen. He's dressed in flannel, for God's sakes, too. So, of course, he gets in there, rep the rep bump. He does the claw slam like Bison Smith used to do back in the day on AJ. And Bryan gets the win. So, Bryan and Rowan are together because Rowan held Styles up, and Bryan gave him the running knee after the match. And looks like we got something going on here. So, I don't think anybody saw that coming. So that's one thing that was kind of a surprise there. But, Bryan and AJ, they've had their run. I guess they're going to have to do something else again. But what do you think's going on here? Do you think that Bryan is going to form his own new stable, or where do you stand on that? And your thoughts on the match itself?
The match was good, very good even. I really like dual limb work. I'm a big fan of that, and they did a really good job working over each other's arms, and Bryan was working over AJ's arm, and AJ was working over Bryan's knee and leg. Selling was great and stuff, but yeah, it was a come down match, and it was a tough placement for them, and they were working a dual limb work match after that Rumble victory for Becky. So it's kind of like it's really not the best match to work in front of that crowd after that match, So it's kind of a weird situation. But the match was good, really good. Eric Rowan coming out was hilarious, but I kind of like it because I think they're probably going to do some weird, like, Daniel Bryan's version of the Manson family, basically.
It has potential.
Did
you saw the theory that people had online, which I know is not going to happen, but it'd be funny that if Bryan really was now in control of the Wyatt family.
Oh God.
And Bray and Luke come back, and join Rowan in the long, but it's not going to happen. But because Harper, I don't know what Harper's situation is, but Bray, Bray's been gone for a while, but I don't think they're going to bring him back for something like that. But it gives Bryan's character a little extra depth now that he has a heavy with him. somebody to be his goons.
Right.
He could be even more of a heel now.
Yes, for sure.
And he's been great. Brian he's one of these rare cases where he went from being this beloved babyface to being this really hateable heel. I mean, when he does these promos, I want to punch him in the face.
This comes to my Foley comparison again. He's very good. He's very similar to McFoley. McFoley could do that. McFoley could cut a promo and be the most likable person that he could be turned into a vicious piece of shit. You give McFoley the mic, for 2 minutes. As you could, he could become the most hateable person. Brian and Foley are very similar in characters and performers in a lot of way. I always think he's that's the best comparison, and he's just been tremendous lately. I've got to say the top WWE feud of 2019 is Daniel Bryan versus the Royal Rumble Burger. That's
Oh yes, he stomped it out.
That's got to be the feud of the year so far in the company. But
here's the thing with that though. I mean, Brian's supposed to be all about these lefty rights and stuff, but he took a perfectly good hamburger that could have went to somebody that was hungry and needed food and stomped it out.
There you go.
Instead of donating it to somebody. Terrible. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting where they go with Brian and all this now. So Elimination Chamber will tell the story, I guess, on what his road to Mania is gonna look like. So that's that. All right. Next we get the Universal Heavyweight Title match. Brock Lesnar defending against Finn Balor, and no Demon here, which rightfully so. They need to be. They need to have the Demon for this. Finn was full on white meat babyface here, and I love this match. It was great. That's what it needed to be. A sprint went by 8 minutes. Finn got his offense in. Looked tremendous. Brock was taking it. He went after his diverticulitis, and I love that. And Brock gave for him. And which Brock supposedly asked for this match to wrestle against Balor. So you got that, and I mean he put the grass, and Brock kicked out, and then had this kind of look on his face when he put on the Kimura lock, and Balor fought through it a little bit, but eventually had to tap out. Brock wins and beats the shit out of Balor after the match. So maybe that sets up a rematch in the future where we do get the Demon. But I don't know. That means if the Demon shows up, that means he has to win. So I don't know if he's gonna be the one to beat Brock or not. But I really enjoyed this a lot. Really good stuff. What was your thoughts on it?
Oh yeah, this match was tremendous. I've kind of given up on the. I just want to see Brock, try and have good matches now. I mean, he'll never lose at this point, but. Well, I mean, if someone costs him,
he'll lose. It's just who's it going to be?
Well, yeah, who's it going to be after somebody cost him the match again? But
maybe
I'm very apathetic towards his booking. But I forget my wanting. This match was great. Brock's selling was the best selling maybe he's ever done. His diverticulitis selling, midsection stomach selling was awesome, off the charts. He sold it throughout the match, just tremendous stuff. Really, really world class selling. Finn's,
you wouldn't have done that for Braun.
Finn's offensive streak was awesome. Hit his big dive 3 times on the floor. Great finish with Brock going crazy with the Kimura. Just an awesome match. The post-match, I understand why they did it, because the commentary did a good job of explaining it, which was Brock was pissed that Balor gave him, hurt him, and now he beat him up after the match. I just don't want to see Brock Lesnar just beat people up. I was worked there because that was the whole point, was to get people mad. But it's like, God, I hate Brock. But regardless, the match was awesome. And I really enjoyed this match.
Oh yeah, totally different than the previous match too. The crowd was way into this
Yep.
one, which was interesting to watch in hindsight. That Bryan and Styles, two of the all timers, couldn't get the heat, but Brock and Balor out here, going sprint, went all out. So that's a story to tell. And I mean, 25-minute match compared to an 8-minute match.
Yep.
Time to change. I mean, long matches can be fine for what they need to be, but sometimes you can get all the shit you need done in less than 10 minutes.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes from there. So with this show going crazy long, next we get the men's Royal Rumble as the main event. I love this Royal Rumble. I mean, it wasn't the best Royal Rumble as far as work goes, but my love for this Royal Rumble was sealed when number 2 came out. Elias sat in the ring and was number 1. He was doing his Elias stuff, which was great. And then Double J's music hit for number 2. That was it for me. Anything else could happen after this, I don't care. I would have loved this match. And we got Jeff in Double J gear for the first time in forever. And Jeff has put on some weight since he's gone through his rehab. Which, hey, if that means if putting on weight keeps him away from doing all the stuff he was doing, drinking and stuff, that's great. I don't care. But it was great. It was so interesting to see him in the WWE ring again in a gimmick after 20 years ago what he did at the pay-per-view with China. So Vince always brings him back, pretty much. Very few he never has. But yeah, that was great. And I was hoping for Road Dogg to come out next, so could have had a trio singing of "Win My Baby Tonight," but sadly didn't happen. Now, I will tell you what's funny though was Nakamura. He comes out next, and the Jarrett got thrown out before Nakamura came out, and then after Nakamura's Kurt Angle. Oh, could you imagine if it was Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett in the ring at the same time? How great that would have
Oh
been.
my gosh.
For all the stuff that happened, even though they're friends. But it just would have been so great. But this match had kind of the same theme as the women's match in ways too, as we got the future. I was so pumped when Candice was in the women's rumble. I made the line on Twitter. I hope Johnny's in the men's, and sure enough, here it comes at 6. I mean, we had Candice, we had Johnny, we had Hornswoggle. I mean, this was an AIW special right here in this show. I loved it. And Johnny eliminated Jinder Mahal. That was booked for our buddy Frey so much. Because Frey loves some Jinder. And Johnny's his best friend. And to see that happen, that was tremendous. But yeah, I mean, we got Gargano in there. We got Pete Dunne was in the Royal Rumble. We got Aleister Black in the Royal Rumble. So that was your newer guys that was in there. We had, Shelton Benjamin popped up in this match out of nowhere. Ain't been on TV much lately. All the New Day, of course. And Kofi got to do his gimmick, which they did with Naomi. They did it with Kanazara.
They did it with Ember.
And they did it with Ember in a way, and now they did it with Kofi. They probably need to chill on that. Now.
Yep.
Definitely chill on that. But yeah, I mean, you got a lot of great stories in this match too. And we got how can I forget Titus coming out? Titus O'Neil running to the ring and stopping just before he gets to the ring, and there's Kurt Hawkins under the ring. And he goes under the ring, chases him, and then he gets in the ring, and Hawkins eliminates him immediately, which is great. But yeah, there's a lot of stories being told here with, Rollins and Ambrose had their thing in the match. Ali and Samoa Joe got to do their battle. McIntyre and all those guys he's feuded with and stuff. And then you had, Pete Dunne and Aleister Black, and there was all kind of callbacks and stuff going on in this match, different things. I loved it. I loved this match. It was just interesting to watch how it played out. Dolph Ziggler showing up after the reports come out that he was on hiatus today. He worked the internet, folks. Old Dolph. And then Orton being Orton, always great. Just seemed just cruise to the ring at number 29, got it made in the shade. And then came number 30. R-Truth comes out, and you knew something was probably going to happen. But it was Nia Jax. Nia Jax attacking him, and then getting into the ring where she beat up on Ziggler, Andrade, and Ray. Dropped the elbow on Ray. And then eliminated Mustafa Ali. So she got to eliminate somebody. And then there's Randy Orton. And when Randy Orton was behind her, and they had a stare down, that place was going fucking crazy. For Nia Jax and Randy Orton stare down. That's amazing, folks. And she knocked him down too. Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio did great bumps for Nia Jax, folks. Don't ever talk to me again about fucking men and women shit like that. And Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio took bumps for Nia Jax. And Lawler was something else in the commentary. Lawler and JBL were on commentary for this, and it was quite the commentary track, let's say the least. But Dolph gave Nia a super kick, and it was wild. Ray gave her a 619, and Orton just gave her the RKO, and that place came unglued, and they threw her out. Then Orton just nailed Ray with the RKO, threw him out. And then Andrade eliminated Orton. That was great. And I forgot to mention, Aleister Black eliminated Dean Ambrose. That was quite the elimination in a lot of ways. But the final four ended up being Strowman, Rollins, Ziggler, and Andrade. Who had that in their pools? That group of four. And ended up being Seth and Braun, and Seth curb stomped Braun on the apron. And won the Royal Rumble, and he was the favorite going in. So the favorites won. So interesting into the show, and very, very highly entertaining Royal Rumble match. So what's your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a good Rumble match. I love the beginning. It's one of my favorite. It might be my favorite start to the Rumble ever. That was awesome. I was sort of waiting because I thought, well, maybe there'll be, maybe something crazy will happen at the end. Because I thought, well, what's the reason that the men's Rumble's main eventing over the women's? Because the Becky moment was so great. Well, then, I figured, it's because the Nia Jax angle, which was a great angle. I was very confused at first, like, what? I was like, this is insane. Because it's seeing intergender wrestling in WWE is something that I thought I'd never see again. Since 10 years, whatever the hell.
Her taking RKO?
Yeah, and there she was. And then, the work was actually really good. The showdown with Randy Orton was literally the highlight of the match.
And the story that was told, and tell me if I'm wrong here, is that Nia was fucking pissed because Becky did that shit in their match, and she was like, "I'm gonna do that shit in the men's match."
Yep. There you go. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Rollins was the favorite. He won. And I will go ahead and say this now. I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I would say he's going to face Brock. But let me say this really quick. Becky's going to want to face Ronda. Well, if Rollins faces Brock, that means both the Rumble winners will be going to Raw. Is it possible that Seth Rollins challenges Daniel Bryan for the WWE title?
Well, what we saw last year, where Asuka picked Charlotte, but she didn't go to SmackDown directly. she was still on
Right.
Raw.
Right. That's true.
So they've done that where just because you pick the champion of the other show doesn't mean that you go to the other show
And that
as a
would probably
full-time
be
performer.
the case with Becky and Ronda, I think. Would they?
Oh, I don't
You
know.
don't think so? You think Becky probably? You think it'd be more? Yeah.
I think in the end. In the end. Now they'll have to do something, after that to move somebody over.
Right.
Like I could see Alexa going to SmackDown
Right.
as a babyface,
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think she's a babyface.
feuding with Charlotte.
Yeah.
So I could see that. So I don't know. Who knows? Who knows how it play out? But well, Becky beats Ronda for the title. She's pretty much got to be on Raw.
Right. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
There's no other way around
Nope.
it. So, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, Rollins and Bryan would be an interesting match for sure. With this dynamic going on, yeah, definitely. And they could have, they could really heat it up where if Bryan's got Rowan with him, Roman could come back as like Seth's guy in ringside.
Yep.
So Roman would be a Mania to counteract Rowan.
Yep.
That'd be easy. That'd be an easy way, and that could use that down the line to set up Bryan and Roman
Mm-hmm.
as a future match. Which that's a match that's got to happen.
Yes.
Somehow, some
Yes.
way, from so many reasons. But yeah, I thought the booking in the both Rumbles was pretty damn good.
Yes.
Lots of interesting stuff. Lots of interesting eliminations in both matches, and they did a great job of spotlighting the future talent. I really thought that was solid. Because some people knew those folks. Majority of the crowd did not recognize a lot of those people, which goes to show you that again, I've said this before. Not everybody watches NXT that's a WWE fan.
No.
Especially most of the WWE fans I know in real life, not internet, do not watch NXT. Because somebody will come up on the roster and I'll get asked, who are they? Yeah, I'm like, well, you don't know you never watch NXT? No, I ain't got time to watch that. So they just watch
probably
Raw
know
and
of
SmackDown.
NXT, but
Yeah, definitely know of NXT, but
they just don't
just
watch it. Right.
Yeah, so I thought it was really good. So as a whole, it's time to do our final review. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. So you go first.
Thumbs up, big thumbs up. This was a great show. Awesome show. A couple of really great matches, a couple of good ones, some really good rumbles. Yeah, this show delivered, big time. Absolutely, A+.
I agree. One thing that we didn't mention at all that I thought was a definite plus for the show tonight. I love the setup. It was so different of a setup than they normally do because it's in Chase Field, the baseball stadium. So we had no stage. They came in from the
That ruled,
dugout.
yeah.
And just a totally different feel. I love different feels of entrances. Because WWE, everything's too samey these days. That's what makes Mania so special. It has a special entrance. But everything's so samey that, this was a definite extra touch. And, yeah, I love that. But, yeah, both Rumbles, seal the deal. There was no bad match on this show at all, really. I mean, I'm not going to count the first match because it was what it was. But every match on this show was at the very least good.
Oh, yeah.
So you got that. There's a lot of solid booking, interesting angles, foreshadowing in the future. So I dug it. So now the road to Mania's on. And yeah, there was no physical Mania sign in the building. They were pointing to the electronic board.
Yeah.
which was interesting too. So, yeah, we'll see what happens now as TV is going to tell the story of where we're going for Elimination Chamber, and then from there to Mania. And who knows where we're going to go? Who knows? But anyway, Devin, thank you as always
Absolutely.
for doing these shows with me. And we will be back in February for Elimination Chamber, God willing. And I'm your host, Chris Zoner, saying so long from the Peach State of Georgia.